Without a real-world problem, a blockchain solution to an imaginary problem doesn't make much sense. And this means that the utility of cryptocurrencies that aren't addressing pragmatic real-world use cases, unfortunately, just isn't there. But DOC, that's D-O-C-K, is among the very few blockchain projects that does have a solid solution for a glaring, major real-world problem: portability, security, and forging identity documents. And these documents could be passports, educational credentials, driving licenses, and more. And DOC is on a mission to make this kind of identity data efficient and secure. But we do have some questions. Can DOC really provide a self-sovereign identity solution? Is it really capable of competing against the likes of VeChain? And does DOC token really have a strong utility in its ecosystem? We are answering all of these questions in today's video, guys. Stay tuned. We are deep diving into doc.io. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. We are a crypto investment research company. I'm always pleased to say that we've been in this game now for over 6 years and we've been making millionaires since all the way back in 2017. We have documented many 100x returns on coins and tokens that are top projects today, really before anyone else was even talking about them. And if you want to see our detailed process for researching such projects, then our new and improved Altcoin Buzz Access group is for you. You can sign up for this service starting at just $99 per month. Click the link in the description of this video for more information. And just keep in mind before we proceed that this video consists of our opinions. You should not consider it to be official financial or investment advice. All right, but first things first, let's ask the question, what is DOC? In the simplest terms, DOC is a decentralized network for issuing credentials. But realistically, what does that mean for someone like yourself or like myself? Because in our daily life, we come across questions like the following. Is the doctor who will treat me at the hospital board certified? Or is there an easier way to provide your necessary personal information for KYC, know your customer, for a bank or a financial app? How do we know the answers we get from Google search or even the hospital or the banks for that matter can be trustworthy and relied upon? Well, that is where DOC comes into the picture. However, let's first talk about the use case of DOC since it goes very much beyond even healthcare or education. It finds its use in things like retail, finance, legal, and many other sectors that rely heavily on credential data. Doc.io call themselves verified credentials as a service, as it can be used by both individuals as well as companies. They've got both a credentialing system and a decentralized digital ID they call a DID. And they're a Web3 project, and in fact, their credentialing system using blockchain meets all Web3C or W3C standards. And they even received a grant from the Web3 Foundation to push forward the vision for a decentralized ecosystem which is producing blockchain-anchored verifiable chains. In order to keep the DOC explanation simple, let's use the example of the credentials of a doctor. But before that, you need to know that DOC is a POS, that's proof of stake network, that works in what seems to be 2 layers. Its mainnet went live on the 30th of September 2020, and the proof of stake mainnet went live on July 7th of the next year, 2021. Coming back to the 2 layers, these are combined as one, but this helps explain what's going on more clearly. So one of those layers is the blockchain layer, and on this layer, a doctor can upload personal information like their resume, their degrees, their credentials, and they can say that they're board certified to perform surgery and able to do so at hospital X, Y, Z, whatever. Or the hospital can upload that same information for them. But there's a second layer just for that hospital. Hospital X, for example, can grant, deny, or revoke a doctor's credentials. But why would Hospital X want to do that? Well, look, situations change. If the surgeon gets a DUI, for example, and loses their board certification, then they would lose their privileges, their corresponding ones, at that hospital as well, right? And thus this credentialing layer would change from approved to revoked. Now, the immutable blockchain layer stays the same. The information on the doctor's resume, their degrees, and the fact that he or she is or was working in Hospital X, that all stays the same. That information is already preserved in a block. and future employers for our surgeon in question will get to see that information, including that they had privileges and the fact that they were revoked. In reality, it's not really two layers. The issuer or the hospital owns the wallet. So they sign the transaction as either an approval or revocation of credentials when somebody asks about our surgeon's credentials. But this is really an important point. It's potentially confusing, but just because Hospital X can revoke privileges does not mean they can go into the blockchain and change the information that already exists in a block. Blockchains, after all, are immutable, and the immutability and censorship-resistant benefits of blockchain are in effect with DOC. Those benefits are enhanced as something like work status via credentialing can be changed, but the base information in the existing block cannot ever be changed. And DOC is using blockchain for all the right reasons, and this issue shows why credentialing on the blockchain can be difficult and needs to be done right. But we were still unsure how the credentialing layer works in detail, and we want to make a bulletproof case for you that your credentials are indeed safe. Here's what the doc.io team shared with us when we reached out to them. According to the DOC team, the holder's credentials are stored on the holder's device, and they can choose to share the credentials with whomever they choose. Should a verifier request their credentials, the holder creates a presentation of their credentials and sends it to the verifier. This presentation contains the claims made and is signed by both the issuer and the holder, so it is known to be legitimate. The only information that is put on the chain is the issuer's DID, or decentralized identifier, and the holder's DID, or the decentralized identifier, and the holder's DID, and optionally a hash of the credential can be anchored on chain where there is a requirement for the credential to have a timestamp. So the credentials are not put on chain, ensuring Z+ security. Now, DOC is offering credentials as a service. So organizations that want to issue verifiable credential VCs without writing a single line of code, well, they can utilize DOC certs. And using DOC certs, these organizations don't have to alter their current work processes. Basically, DOC certs is an alpha release and can be customized to suit any company's needs. Users can sign up for DOC certs in only a few clicks and start creating their own decentralized IDs, aka DIDs, and verifiable credentials. Following the creation of the credential, companies can send the holder a link in an email or a PDF or digital certificate. However, companies can send the credential as a JSON, that's JSON file, that the holder can save in their credential wallet. And these verifiable credentials can easily be confirmed using the cryptographic method. Furthermore, this method eliminates the possibility of falsification, and so as a result, companies can verify credentials without the fear of forgery. And companies can also have their VC in their app. DOC extended its services to organizations that intend to share variable credentials in a mobile application, and the platform offers its own mobile SDK. DOC's SDK is an excellent starting point for incorporating verified credentials and decentralized identity. It saves the time and expense of constructing an API from scratch, and furthermore, DOC's SDK allows these organizations to incorporate DOC's features into their own apps, exercise complete control over the development, issuance, and authentication of verifiable credentials, and utilize DOC's network to build their mobile applications. So DOC provides both ready-made and customizable VC and DID opportunities for companies and developers, and users can opt for whichever seems most convenient for them. Let's now talk about DOC token utility. So DOCK, with its mainnet launch and use cases, seems to be a solid blockchain project that does solve real-world problems. So let's evaluate the utility of its DOC token. Let's ask this question. What powers the information on the blockchain and for issuers to sign credentials? Well, its own DOC token. In fact, you can't have a DID on DOC without it. All transactions require one token, and it's also used for governance and for staking. The DOC token is very important, and DOC has USD paying customers that pay for API calls to credentialing layers, but you can only make changes to the credentialing layer, like revoking someone's hospital privileges, using the DOC token to pay for the network's use. Let's talk about DOC tokenomics for a moment. So DOCK currently trades at about 3.7 cents, with a total supply of 1 billion tokens, out of which 70% is with holders, 15% is with the treasury, and the final 15% is allocated for emission rewards. And according to the team, the circulating supply is 756 million, and the emission of the remaining DOC will happen over 25 years, with drops of 25 to 30% per year. If we take a look at the doc.io scanner, we see close to 13.5% DOC is currently being staked. In fact, in January 2022, BINANCE launched DOC staking with an APY of 37%. In a rare feature in crypto, DOC is available through a direct buy from the company. And you can also buy through Binance, Gate.io, Huobi, KuCoin, AAX, Hotbit, WazirX, and CoinDCX. Let's talk about some of the DOC competitors out there. Currently, the project is competing against some of the very strong VC and DID projects like VeChain, Ontology, and Kilt. Likely these are names that you've heard of. But the biggest advantage DOC holds over the competitors is that they don't have an SDK, but simple API. So it's very easy for developers to work with API and build customized apps for mass adoption. In fact, in Q2 of 2022, DOC plans to release an Ethereum bridge, which would only further enhance adoption of DOCK. Let's talk DOC price prediction. Here's the bullish scenario. If DOC manages to break above the resistance level of about 4.1 cents, then it would be bullish, quite simply. If it gains some momentum in buying pressure and builds up, then we might test the next resistance level, which sits at about 4.9 cents and then 5.8 cents. Breaking above the 5.8 cent price level with significant buying volume would lead to a good chance of crossing above 7.4 cents. But the flip side, here's the bearish scenario. DOC has been in a downtrend channel in these last few weeks. And so if the 3.2 cent support level is not held, the price could well fall to 2.2 cents and 1.4 cents, and hopefully not, but potentially even lower. So when looking at this from a macro perspective, we feel that DOC makes a strong case because it's undeniable that Web3 is just around the corner. And you must have understood by now that decentralized identities are the Web3 pass, or the gateway to Web3, in other words. And the main reason being to surf, transact, or share your own data on Web3. You're going to need an identity on blockchain. And this ID will carry your credentials, your reputation, and the linked data on a wallet. So this opens up a huge use case in DeFi and NFT marketplaces, as well as users who are going to be able to either prove or verify their transactions and ownership of assets without revealing their wallet address, or for that matter, the entire history of their transactions. So DOC has an inevitable use case in and beyond the blockchain industry. As always, guys, let us know your thoughts about DOC by sharing them in the comments below. Never financial advice, but of course, best of luck if you do choose to invest. If you're still watching the video at this point, pat yourselves on the back, but be sure to like, subscribe, share, and hit the bell to receive notifications for all our future updates. Check out these other couple of related videos, which should be popping up right about now. Have a great midweek, everybody. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.